Hello, loves, and welcome back to Your Hero's Quest. I'm your host, Carly, and in honor of Valentine's Day and February kind of just harnessing that energy of love, we're going to be talking all about Eros. What is Eros? How can it play a role in our life in connecting us with beauty and with the divine and with our own self-love? So this is going to be a part 1 of 2 because it's a huge topic. So let's dive right in. So what is Eros? Eros is a god, a concept, and an elemental force. Let's tackle the god part first. Eros is the Greek god and Cupid is the Roman version of Eros. So that, god of love that flies around with his arrows and can strike people into a passionate love. Early writers like Hesiod in the 7th century BC said that Eros was older than the Olympians and was one of the primordial gods at the beginning of the universe itself. So Hesiod and his contemporaries saw Eros, or love, as a primal force as foundational as the earth and sky, and as important to the function of the universe as the earth and sky. Later on, Sappho said that Eros wasn't quite as ancient, but was one of the first children of Gaia, putting him in the same timeline as the Titans. In Greek creation myth, out of chaos, which is the essence of nothingness, came 2 divinities, a place, Earth, and a force of attraction, Eros. These are enough to generate the rest of creation. So Eros, love, that divine force, was present at the beginning of all things and is the counterpart to the matter, the earth. Eros is that energy. The Muses tell the story by saying that in the beginning was chaos or emptiness. Then Earth, Gaia, came into being without parents, providing a place for the gods to come to. Then suddenly comes Eros, the fairest of all immortals, who at his touch bodies melt, and he can destroy will and reason for both humans and gods. That is the power of love. In other tellings of this myth and of Eros, he is the son of Aphrodite and Ares, the goddess of love and beauty and the god of war. But we'll get back to that. So that's Eros as a god, and now Eros was a concept in ancient Greek philosophy, which referred to a sensual and passionate love, and has been adapted in modern philosophy and psychology to mean more of a life force energy and an essence of life. Erotic love was referred to in the classical world as a sort of madness, described through metaphor of love's arrows and darts, personified by Eros and Cupid, who pierced the heart of the recipient with overwhelming desire and longing. And of course, the arrow's wound can produce both pleasure and pain. And this explained the idea and the feeling of love at first sight. So Plato talks deeply about Eros in his work, The Symposium. And to Plato, love is the desire for oneself to possess what is beautiful. And he did not consider physical attraction a necessary part of Eros. To him, Eros could be used for the purpose of being a vehicle for a union with the divine and higher states of consciousness. He describes it as this universal force. So in the Symposium, this work records a conversation at a dinner party where Socrates is a guest, and various people come and speak before him about Eros and about love. And they have this sort of debate and share their opinions about what it is philosophically. So to them, Eros is a god of beauty and goodness that is unparalleled. But to Socrates, love is neither beautiful nor good, it's neutral. It cannot be beautiful because it is the desire to possess what is beautiful, and one cannot desire that which one already possesses. So it's that seeking or that longing to experience beauty. So love is not inherently good, but it's a means to attain things that are good. He says human nature can find no better helper than love. Now, a woman who's at the party named Diotima argues this by saying that the object of love is to procreate and give birth in the presence of beauty. So love motivates us when we achieve anything good, and it motivates us to achieve more good and to do good. It is then argued that there is an ultimate object of love that overarches all others. To achieve the vision of absolute beauty, one must progress from love of physical beauty in someone to love of all physical beauty. Looking at one object as beautiful to then perceiving beauty in everything is step number one. And then love in the soul leads to love of everything that is in our realm. So then, by contemplating all these different types of beauty, it gives us a glimpse of what absolute beauty is. So, Socrates says ultimately that sexual desire in response to physical beauty is deficient and doesn't really get us to that experience of absolute beauty, that it should be developed into a response to beauty of a person's soul, and then into response to the form of beauty itself, which is the eternal. So this is how Eros and love and beauty are this vehicle to a union with the eternal and with the divine. It's experiencing someone else in their entirety, not for their physical beauty, but for their soul, their essence. And this is definitely the goal in a sacred relationship with someone. Eros is that physical passion as well, but to experience all of it and honoring the other at a soul level. I think it's hard for any of us to describe love. And so I find it interesting that these Greek philosophers break it down sort of using their philosophy and logic and reason to try to even convey what the experience of beauty and love is, because really it is something that we simply feel and experience. Like when you're looking at a beautiful painting or hearing an incredible piece of music, or a absolutely breathtaking sunset, you are witnessing that Eros, but you're feeling it and experiencing it, and it's hard to describe it in words. Moving a little bit ahead, Plotinus in the Aeneid says that love is seen as constitutive of the soul. Quote, "This being, love, has from everlasting come into existence from the soul's aspiration toward the higher and the good, and he was there always, as long as soul too existed." And then later, St. Augustine says, "My love is my weight. To whatever place I go, I am drawn to it by love." So love is indistinguishable from the soul. And whatever good, such as knowledge, that someone achieves, it is because of that love. For Plato, Eros helps the soul to remember beauty in its purest form and thus leads to an understanding of truth. Now, going back for a minute to Eros as a god, and remember he is synonymous with Cupid, he's the son of Aphrodite and Ares, and these are the deities of beauty and war. In Roman mythology, this is Venus and Mars, which is interesting, right? Because Venus or Aphrodite being the goddess of beauty and love, and Mars or Ares being the god of war and action and passion, their union brings about Eros, or love. In most myths, Eros is the servant to his mother, beauty, which is interesting since Plato also placed beauty above love as the highest principle. Now, I think beauty and love are synonymous, and in the essence, the same thing. When we look at nature and its unfathomable beauty, what's at the core of that beauty is the experience of love in observing it and feeling it, experiencing it. The same thing in seeing the beauty in another's soul. You are experiencing love for that person. So Aphrodite would call upon Eros, her son, to do her bidding. She could have him strike men and women with his arrows as either a blessing or a curse, could cause attraction and desire and passionate, all-consuming love. And she even played a hand in the Trojan War. In the Odyssey, Homer says to see her was to feel wonder. So again, it's this seeing this beauty puts us in that place of Eros, of awe, of wonder, and of love. And she, Aphrodite and Venus, were worshipped by the ancient Greeks and Romans for her divine beauty. So Ares and Aphrodite's, Mars and Venus, back to them. They have their passionate love affair. Venus is actually married to Vulcan, who is a very like cold blacksmith god. Their marriage was arranged, and he doesn't even value her or her beauty at all. And she's definitely not in love with him. She's in love with Mars. They have this passionate love, and they're caught in their act of love by Vulcan, who crafts an invisible net to catch them. And the other gods come to look and have a laugh, but even Mercury jokes that he wouldn't mind being caught in that net with beautiful Venus. So, with Venus and Mars, or Aphrodite and Aries, giving birth to Eros, love, it represents the principle of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And we talk about this a lot, the sacred union, and that this sacred union of energy is what will bring about heaven on earth. We have these energies within us, obviously, and when we can balance them internally, it also brings balance to the earth. So, not only internally, because as within, so without, but also in our partnerships. No wonder their child is Eros, who is all of that sacred union combined. They stand for this erotic love and also this passion. And this is what like conquers anything. They represent the whole person, the energies within us united that produce Eros. They also have a daughter named Harmonia. She's the Greek goddess of harmony, representing divine balance, cosmic balance from the god of war and the goddess of love. Now, in this, it's also interesting because the masculine warrior returns to love, and he is not devalued by this, but exalted. We talk about this a lot, even with like the knights. Are they devalued as a knight by being married and, honoring their divine feminine wife? Does it take away from their knightly duties? No, in fact, the divine feminine raises them to their status of knighthood. The divine feminine of Venus raises Mars to his status of god, and it makes him an even better warrior because he is now softened at the edges in terms of his harsh, warlike energy, and it's a warrior for the divine. Their story shows that love requires the ultimate surrender. And there's this painting by Botticelli of Venus and Mars, and they're laying together, and Mars is asleep, and Venus is just looking upon him. So he's in this state of ultimate surrender. His fury and temper are tamed. He's sleeping, he's defenseless, his armor is down, and he's raised to the divine through the highest sacred feminine. This is also like that Holy Grail energy. So this is such a good metaphor for our lives and bringing Eros into our own experience, surrendering to love in every moment. It doesn't have to be a love of a romantic partner. It's self-love, it's love of beauty, it's love of the world, and it's seeking that yearning for the love of God, of creation. And we'll get to this in part 2, but that energy of yearning is so present in courtly love and in the medieval tales of love. So the yearning really is for this infinite union with God that we all have, and we get to do that every single day. The goal of life can become to live erotically, not a sexual eroticism, but eros, to live in this energy, to live within the experience of life. So many of us in the modern age are so distracted. And when we're faced with the emptiness or a feeling of a void, we attempt to fill it with external things, watching TV all day or scrolling through social media, alcohol, numbing our feelings, just filling up our day with activities perhaps. But in that emptiness, we have to get comfortable with it. Not only comfortable, but when we allow ourselves to experience it, it gets filled up with this divine Eros presence. And we get to connect with that in things like meditation and in nature. And when we start to become stewards of our thoughts, when we can fill our thoughts with gratitude and with love and joy and bliss for our lives. So Eros is really this rapture for life and the ability to be at peace with and hold this empty space. The field is filled with love and divine presence. It's all around us that we can literally tap into at any moment. It's also recognizing the interconnectedness of all things. We're all just these experiences of God and creation in form. Me, a blade of grass, the birds singing, the droplet of water from a lake. I think back to like the Renaissance, which seemed to me to be an age where everyone lived in Eros. Like everything was beautiful, the most gorgeous paintings and art and statues and architecture come from that period of time. Or even these gorgeous cathedrals, the Gothic medieval cathedrals were built to experience God, and they are beautiful, doesn't even describe them. They're jaw-dropping. So to experience God is through beauty. And in this modern age, like that's my beef with it as we just get so consumed and lost in technology and in minimalism and all this stuff. To me, it just feels cold and it feels almost empty in a way. That's just my opinion. So, how can we make our lives beautiful in every moment? How can we experience this beauty in every moment? This is how we start to live with Eros. And this is also in just living with our divine truth and purpose and emanating and exuding that light into the field. Dr. Gabriel Cousens says that in relationships, this is fully seeing the other person and the inner experience of them. It's a total experience of them in a non-sexual way. It's also experienced then in this energy of giving and receiving, which is this heart-to-heart connection. When you give a gift and a person receives it, that is an experience of love. I think a lot of times we're taught that to give is better, right? Always give, always give, always give, which of course I agree with. But we're not taught how to receive a lot of the time. Dr. Gabriel also says that God's gift to us is infinite love, and our gift to God is to receive it. And as we experience the divine in another person, we then experience the divine in ourselves and experience the divine altogether. I know I always reference my tarot cards, but this card, the Two of Cups, really represents this concept of the union of two with this caduceus overhead, bringing them into higher states of consciousness through their union and through the giving and receiving of experiencing each other. It literally alchemizes our experience into a higher realm. Now, how do we do this? Well, to get to Eros is to give up control, surrender, right? To surrender is to experience beauty, love, and Eros. We have to give up control that we grip so tightly to. That's our ego trying to manipulate outcomes and know exactly what's going on. But love is unknown, right? Love is like a mystery. It's a great mystery. Eros is a great mystery. This is also present in relationship. We must give up trying to control another person to be able to experience them fully in their divine essence. So if we can turn life into this beautiful erotic dance with creation by giving up our control, by giving up our attachment to past and future, and living fully in the present now moment that's consistently unfolding. As Dr. Gabriel Cousens says, this is the true birth. That our birth wasn't when we were brought into this world physically, but it's the awakening to this. It's the awakening to Eros is when we're actually born and we're freed from the confines of time and space. And we live in communion on a daily basis with the divine. We get to live in the experience of the divine. So I urge you to find ways or think about ways or just question this, how you can start to live with Eros in your life every day. Whether this is through meditation practices or connecting more with nature, just really removing yourself from like the mundane day to day and making moments magical. Like this is part of my mission with my channel and my business is to turn the mundane living into magic, because we're not here to struggle. We're not here to just go to work and make money and get by. We're here as divine beings to experience the divinity of creation and to be all that we can be and to literally live in bliss and joy. And you can do that. You can literally do that. If you need further help with this, I created a guide that is going to get you on track to your dream life by using the law of assumption and stepping into your highest vibrational self right now in this moment to shift your reality into the one of your dreams. And that is linked down below. So go ahead and download that if you're interested. All right, all right. So we've made it through part one of what is Eros? How can we live more deeply with Eros? Part two will be coming out next week, and we're going to further delve into the philosophies of love and how they started to be presented in later mythologies and through later writers and the medieval period. So let's pull a card from our Hero's Journey Dream Oracle for a message to further assist us on our little quest into Eros today. Okay, so we got you hold the key to an awakened life. Set yourself free. Oh my gosh, how perfect is that? Yes, the key to the awakened life is living in Eros. Oh my gosh. All right, let's see what it says though. All of the events that take place in your daytime and nighttime dreams are attempts to awaken your core strengths, gifts, and genius. Remembering who you are, thus valuing who you are, is the key to living an awakened life. You wake up when you consciously remember, put back together, your true identity as an infinite spiritual being, powerful beyond measure, and heir to all the blessings this earth has to offer. Mantra. I hold the key to an awakened life of love, magic, and treasure beyond measure. Oh, could that be more perfect for today's message? You really do hold the key. You are the key. You are the magic wand. You can create the life of your dreams. Absolutely nothing is impossible for you. By choosing to live with Eros and in love and beauty, literally just doing that will transform your life in infinite ways and will bring you closer and closer to your true spirit and true self. And by loving ourselves is loving the divine, because we are all part of the divine. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Be on the lookout for part two. Of course, like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And I love to hear from you in the comments. So until next time, much love.